everybody. I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to an awesome new episode of VO Buzz Weekly.
And on the show today, we have the super cool Jodi Gottlieb, who we just had the opportunity of working with.
She's amazing, you guys. This woman has written, produced, directed promos for all the major networks, and she's an incredible teacher.
Absolutely.
So you're going to find out how you could study with her too, and you need to because she's the promo queen.
Absolutely, and what you need to do right now is take out your little notepad and get ready to take some notes because you're going to learn some stuff.
Absolutely. So we're going to go talk to Jodi right now. Our guest is one of my favorite people in the world. She is an award-winning VP of production. She has been writing, casting, producing, and directing promos for networks like ABC, CBS, NBC, TBS, USA, and more. Commercials, trailers, she does it all. She's also an author and a sought-after teacher and private coach. We love her. We're so excited to get buzzed with the amazing Jodi Gottlieb.
How do I follow that?
You just be you.
You are the superstar. Put it there.
Touch us. Hello, it's good to see you.
What a pleasure.
Oh, so nice to be here.
Stunning, you look stunning.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Great hair,
Thank you.
great outfit.
Well,
People dress up.
Talented,
I can't believe that
stylish.
people actually dress up to come and be on our show.
No, we need to clean up our act.
We
now.
must be doing pretty good here. They're starting to look better than us.
I know,
guys, I mean,
we have to have a dress code.
it's such an honor to be here, to be invited here. So I want to show some respect.
Aw,
Well, thank you.
you.
We are so
That's
excited you're
sweet.
here.
Absolutely. We've been hearing about you for years, Jodi, and
vice versa.
I tell you
Yes.
what, people just speak so highly of you, and
so
the
glad to hear
knowledge
that.
that you have in this business is incredible. And we know that our viewers are going to take notes. They're taking notes right now because you're going to have some really great things that they need to know about, the promo industry and anything else that you have to offer. And so we're really excited to have you.
Oh, thank you, Chuck.
Absolutely. Your background was in directing theater, right? Like you started directing theater in New York.
I actually started out as an actress.
As an actress?
Yes. And then I realized shortly thereafter, while I was working, that I preferred directing.
Oh, okay.
I like bossing people around.
There you go. I love
You're
that
so
too.
good at it, too.
Yes.
And I had a better eye for other people's performances than my own.
Ah.
So I started out, directing theater, and all of a sudden I had nothing to do, and I got a job at an advertising agency and got into that world of commercials.
And this was still in New York?
This is still in New York, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Creative, it was like at the peak of creativity, unlimited budgets.
Yeah.
We didn't have to depend on the star factor. We could actually write and produce like little movies. And it was fantastic in New York.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And then I moved out here, and I was hired as a senior broadcast producer at an agency, and was put on retail accounts, which, after doing Campbell Soup and, big name national, it's like, okay, local supermarket chain, that's okay. I actually enjoyed that. I had never really been involved in shooting food, which is a whole other animal.
Wow.
Right,
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, so that was really interested, and I like to cook, so it was, I was off with the stylist while, they were doing
Polishing the apples, yeah.
That's right. And I met and got to work with the incredible Ernie Anderson. He was doing voiceovers for us.
Yes.
And Ernie was the one who got me into promos.
Wow.
He made contact at a production company here in LA, and I worked for them and built up my reel. And the next thing you know, I'm at CBS. A friend of a friend called who knew I had commercial experience and said, we have a contest we need somebody to run, and you're freelance, you want to do that? I said, sure. So I went for a 3-week assignment and stayed for 10 years.
Wow. That's how good she is.
That's the gigs you
You
love.
can't
Yeah.
Those are the gigs you love.
Very
Those are,
cool.
Was
you know,
it what you expected?
It was better.
Really? How so?
It was, again, at that time, it's not that long ago, but it was a very creative atmosphere. And for me, the people that I was working with, the combination of people, it's all about the people you work with anyway, was, inspiring and exhilarating. And I took advantage of being able to I took advantage of some opportunities that came my way, and I'd raise my hand and go, I'll do that project, I'll do that project.
Right.
And so I got to direct major TV stars, and I got to write for them, and I got to perform with them if it was a partner read and the other guy wasn't there. So here I am reading copy with Bob Newhart.
Nice.
Sitting there going, how did this happen?
I love it. I love
You know, if
That
my
is so
friends
cool.
could see me now.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and writing comedy for Jonathan Winters.
Oh, my
So
word.
cool.
It's like,
Wow.
and he did it once,
Yeah.
and then he takes off on it, you know, and
Yeah.
he was brilliant.
So cool.
So it was great.
Yeah, and some people don't even realize that's an actual job. You know what I mean? It's so cool.
know what it
Where's that job description? You know, it's like, hey, I want to do that. It's not even in a book, right?
Not on monster.com.
I didn't know what it was until I was doing it.
Yeah.
Had the job and then learned what it was. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I had a slightly different job, but
Yeah.
as long as I was there, I was going to find out what this
Yeah.
was.
Right.
And it was just amazing. I want in.
Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of great when you have no expectation because you can be fearless because you don't know what you should be scared about or
Yes.
you're worried about. It's just like, I'm doing it, I'm in it, and there's just no, which I
Right.
think is great, you know, which is a
Yeah.
great motto
Yeah.
for most anything.
Just went in there and said, I'll do it. How do I do this? You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
So
great.
you were
Learning on the fly.
producing,
Yeah.
writing, and directing promos
Yes.
for at CBS there
Yes.
for like 10 years.
10 years. I
Wow, man.
ended up being the director of radio. So I was mostly working in radio at
In
that
radio.
point, but I was also doing some on-air stuff
Wow.
because I'd raised my hand. I want that project.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: What is the difference between a TV promo and a radio promo? Like, what differences are?
The difference is, the way I describe it,
Yeah.
is on air, TV promo, the voiceover stands behind the images.
Right.
They point to the images
Right.
on screen. It's another layer of emphasis. For radio, you are the image. So
yeah.
you have to be way out in front. And I'm sorry you didn't make it to the day I did
I
with
know.
Jeff. We're going to do it again
Yes.
and you can make sure you come.
Yes.
We teach in tandem an on-air read and a radio read with the same copy.
Oh, nice.
So you see, you know, the differences in how you're being directed.
You get to experience the difference,
You get to
which is great.
experience the
Nice.
differences.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah, it's a different kind of read.
Yeah.
You know, on-air is a little more casual, but again, pointing to the images.
Yeah.
And sort of a backup singer for what's
right.
going on
there you go.
screen.
Okay, that's good. That's a good
Yeah.
way of putting
Yeah.
it.
Great analogy, yeah.
And for radio, you are the story.
You're the lead singer.
You're the lead singer.
Ah!
That's it.
Get
Exactly.
down, baby. We're rocking and rolling. See? It's all about rock and roll.
It is rock and roll.
There's no other way.
That is so cool. I've never heard it put like that, and I love that.
Yeah, but that's a really great visual.
Yes.
I never put it like that before. It
We've
works.
had an epiphany, people.
Hello.
I'm using that again.
New things come every day.
We'll trademark that for
You'll
you.
live and learn. So, obviously, you've been directing promos for a long time, and you're a great coach. But what do you think? And it's hard for somebody to say, "Well, I'm great because of this." But what do you think makes you an effective director, a good director?
You know what? I had a feeling you were going to ask something like that.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And I think it is that I have acting experience.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was a great actress, but having experience on the stage and in front of a camera
Yeah.
is helpful because I just turn it around. What do I need to hear to get to that performance? I need specific things.
Yeah.
I don't like the vague, well, you know, make it smarter, make it funnier. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
What I need is very specific, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing is people are responding to that. They also want the very specific how to get there.
Right.
What do you do?
Well, and I can attest to that because you're very clear. You are a very talent-friendly director. It's not, because it isn't convoluted. It's not, it's very specific. And even the physicality, the physical gesture that you incorporate in your technique is amazing. And as a dancer myself and an actor, I love it because I really feel like when I feel it physically, it's really genuine. And so I loved working with you because it really was a great connection. And it's so clear. And you'll do it in a word. And
That's
it's not
all it
like
takes
this blah,
sometimes.
blah, blah. And you don't line read.
I don't.
You
line
just,
read.
it's like a
Or I
word
try
or
not
two.
to.
Say it like this.
I have slipped.
If it's the end of the night and you're not getting what you need, just do it like
Just
this.
do it
No.
like this.
But I think that's, for me, on the other side of the glass, that was just like, boom. I mean, it was just so quick. I mean, you're just like, oh, I did it? Oh, it's over already. I mean, you just wanted it to go on longer, but
and
I loved it.
And you heard the differences.
Yes.
Immediately. It's an immediate gratification there. But talking about the physicality, again, having been on stage and directing voiceover now, voiceover actors are indeed actors.
Yes.
Yeah. Or they're supposed to be.
They're supposed to be. Seen a few who
Clarification there,
Yes, they're supposed to be, but they are. They're voiceover actors. And actors, as you know, use not only their voice, but their face, their hands, their body, their stance, their movement. So if a line reading on camera is a little off, and I've heard a couple of off line readings, you still get it because of everything else that's going on.
Exactly.
In voice acting, you cannot fall back on that. Your line readings have to be right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to do that, you have to get everything else aligned.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Brilliant.
Yeah. You don't
It's
have
not
your
reading.
body, your face, your
Don't.
outfit to help you with whatever it is you're trying to get across.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But if you use it,
If you use it,
you will get the line out.
Exactly.
Well, especially comedy, because comedy is so visual. And who cares if you make that face or raise your eyebrow? No one can see, but you have to create
it.
that raised eyebrow in your voice and in your
Yeah.
performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And especially as a dancer, you know that any turn you make, you were there, one of the gestures that I like is the hand flip to make a turn and copy.
Yeah.
You can't miss with that.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's crazy.
It's foolproof.
Like someone doing it, you're just like, I heard the flip.
Yeah.
And I would sometimes not even look at someone else, and I'd be like, I heard their flip.
Yeah.
They flipped. It's amazing. It
Yeah.
really is so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, on that note, there are lots of people watching that
Yes.
go, I
Yes.
want to get in on the flip, man.
How do I get into flip?
I need some flip in my life.
I want some flip and flip.
How do I
Flip
get
me up.
And that's
me
just
over.
one.
Yeah.
That's just one little technique.
Oh, yeah, and we're not going to leak them all.
Can't leak them all.
But there are some other good ones. I have a couple of other favorites that
Yes.
I will not speak of. But
you
how?
you can share with Chuck for use on his demos when you're directing demos.
Okay, good.
Couple
I
of
will.
really
You're
good
gonna
ones.
love these. You're gonna love
Unless
these.
you want to come take a lesson with me.
Oh boy. Steal all your tricks?
Share.
Share all your
I
tricks.
would love to see the two of you directing together.
Oh, God.
That would be fun.
It would be fun. We
That
need to
would
do
be
that because
powerful.
I've had the opportunity to co-direct with a lot of cool people like Susan Blue
Yeah.
and
she's
Joyce
great.
Castellanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Mary
so
Lynn
sweet.
Wisner,
Mary Lynn Wisner.
Oh, my favorite
Berry.
Richard Horvitz on it, and it's just it's explosive
Yeah.
because you get like all this crazy creativeness and the talents in there going like and their head's about to explode.
Well, it's not about them. It's
No,
about us.
but the finished product is insane.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool.
Call
I
me.
love that.
I'll be right
Okay,
over.
so
Excellent.
let's do. This is my happy plugs. Okay, so people can find you on Facebook
Facebook and Twitter.
and Twitter, and to get to your workshops, your classes, to work with you privately. Are you doing any Skype?
I am
for
doing
anyone that's
Skype.
not in
Yay.
LA.
I am doing
Okay, great.
I'm doing Skype for people who are in LA who have an hour and a half between sessions and they can't get to the studio,
Okay.
or they have to do it during the day.
Right.
I do my privates in studio in the evening, starting at 6. Daytime is Skype.
Okay,
So
great.
Beautiful.
So people can reach out to you on Facebook.
Facebook, Twitter,
And Twitter,
send me
and-
private message.
Okay.
Make sure you send me your email so I can email you all the information.
Okay.
Cool.
I cannot stress strongly enough to you people, all of you out there, if you want to do promos, this is an unpaid advertisement.
Yeah.
I was not gonna, but seriously, you are gifted and you are so easy to work with. You're very honest, you're very direct, but you learn so much, but it's done from a place of the ultimate goal is the copy. It's not about ego, it's not about I'm right, you're wrong. It's about getting the right result. And so if you're serious about promo, if you need to work on your timing, your interpretation, anything about promo, you need to talk to Jodi.
Yes.
You need to work with Jodi.
I also teach commercial. Less so. Concentrate on promo, but I do teach commercial as well. Same techniques.
Same techniques. Yeah. Very good. Because they're all part of voice acting.
It's all part of voice acting.
And trailers, right?
I don't teach trailers, but...
Do you direct and
on occasion?
On occasion?
Yeah, they're less so, if anybody's noticed, in public theaters. Trailers aren't using voiceover.
What is going on with trailers?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because
I think it's a budget thing.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I can come up with.
Yeah, well, I do know one thing, and this is the only thing I know.
Okay.
I don't know anything else about anything.
That's hardly.
No, but I do know. I do
go ahead.
know because I have friends that do a lot of trailers and make a lot of money doing trailers.
Yeah.
But they say, well, promos, everybody gets paid scale, right? Commercials, union, you're getting paid scale. Promos, you're getting paid scale. Trailers, totally different.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are, the rate gets negotiated and all that stuff.
Right.
And of course, there's not as much trailer work going on, but you can make significantly. Significantly. Can you say that word for me?
You can make significantly. Do the flip, Chuck.
Significantly.
See?
More.
Huh?
I love it.
And I'm exaggerating here, there are only 5 guys who are allowed to do them.
Who are allowed to do them. Exactly. Yeah.
You hear the same
Very few women.
People. Very few women. There are, once in a while you hear one, and I always cheer.
Yeah.
But it's mostly guys. When they're doing them, I sit in the theater, I count the trailers, 6 trailers, 5 don't have voiceover, and the 6th one is only a tag.
Yeah, in the theater, mostly it's just the stuff that you hear on TV, starts Friday, under 1700.
And that's all you hear, the tag.
It's like, I missed it.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's a different world.
It's a different world.
Yeah. What are some current trends that you're noticing that you think people need to know about working in promos? Because you've seen...
So glad you asked that. This is the start of the new season. We're in the new season now. And so I've been studying, been recording and transcribing. And much to my surprise, on all the broadcast networks, the cable networks are pretty much staying where they are. But on all the broadcast networks, the on-air reads are getting a little bigger. Just a little bit. For a while, they were going flatter, more natural sounding. Now they're getting bigger. They're getting... sort of heading down that road to old school. Not close.
Not fully.
Not the big A word, the announcer word.
Not there yet. Not there yet. But the reads are getting bigger, much closer to radio reads.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
But I've noticed it across the board.
When I'm watching a promo, which I do all the time, like people are like, dude, why are you listening to commercials? Why are you watching promos? I'm like, because this is what I do, and I love it. I love listening to them. But when I'm listening to a promo and it's dull, and the voice is dull, I'm always thinking like, why would you let that go like that?
Who approved
and then when
that?
I hear a promo, like ABC, Scandal next on ABC,
Right.
and the guy's just
example.
like, the guy, he's just punching you in the face. You're just like, yeah, baby, give it to me. That's good.
What? Yeah. Chuck, I think you're onto something here, because the last few years, when it's been very low key, very natural, it's been boring.
It's been boring. That's exactly it. Excitement and just raising the energy level adds another level of excitement, even if the words are not exciting. Exactly.
I think you're onto something there. I'm using that. That's going to be my answer.
You can use it.
Well, it makes you want to watch it and not skip it.
Makes you pay attention.
Exactly.
Because if any of you out there are anything like me, if I'm watching live TV, which is rare these days, if it's on and a commercial pod comes on, I'm up, I'm leaving the room.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm getting on the computer, I'm texting. I'm like 15 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, 16. And
She's just 16 years old.
so if I'm leaving the room, and I noticed this last year, a lot of networks were using the MTV type, where it was all music and some sound bites, which was useless to me if I was in another room, if I went to get a drink of water or whatever, or if I wasn't looking, I didn't know what was going on. So I'm glad to see they're not doing that as of today.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen next
Right.
week, but I think you're right. I think they've perked it up to captivate you, to grab your attention.
Yeah, and I'm much needed too.
Well, because I'm amazed, when a new show, especially, will get canceled after one episode.
Yeah.
Or 2 episodes. I mean, so I'm curious that maybe somehow, if they're bringing the promo into it, that really is making people go, I'm going to watch How to Get Away with Murder. I'm going to watch Scandal. I'm going to watch 2.5 Men. Because they have to get those numbers in the first week or the second week, or they're out of there.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. We'll have this discussion again in a month.
Exactly.
And see what we're at the end of
Who made
November,
it?
after November sweeps, the end of Thanksgiving weekend. We'll sit around, we'll drink, and talk about the results.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. Okay. It's a date.
That's a date.
What do you think are essential skills for a voice talent who wants to work in promos in this marketplace now?
Okay, contrary to common belief, it is not the quality of your voice. I can't tell you how many people call me and say, I've been told to have a nice voice. And my answer is, who's your agent?
Right.
Doesn't matter. In fact, the more deeper voice, the harder it is going to be for you, because with an instrument like that, you have to work against the idea of relying on your instrument. And clients who come to me with that attitude, it's a battle.
Yeah.
The important things that you have to have are an inhibition. You have to be able to go to places you don't want to go to.
Yeah.
Like any actor.
Absolutely.
Like any actor. You have to be able to tap into things. You have to have a sense of humor. Oh, God, you have to have a sense of humor. You need to listen more than anything else. You don't want to mimic anybody. You want to listen to how they're doing it, but then you want to bring your own self into it.
Yeah.
You don't want to rely on this. You want to rely on this. You need some acting skills, but I also, have some trouble, as you might also, with trained actors who can't get out of the actory read.
Yeah.
You have to work twice as hard to get that down.
To get them to be real.
To get them to be real.
Yeah.
And that's a technique that you need to be able to have. You have to be able to fake sincerity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up, because I've had people that I've worked with who have come from a radio background, and they're like, well, Chuck, and they're talking totally normal. I'm having a conversation with them over Skype, and they're like, well, Chuck, the thing is this, man, I'm a family man, and, blah, blah, da, but, I have this radio background, and, that seems to, and I'm like, well, right now, you sound like a regular guy.
Right.
Why can't you do that on mic? And he goes, I don't know. Whenever you put a mic in front of me, it's like, okay, so now we're ready. And like, no, dude, you can't do that. You just need to be you.
Don't you find that happens to everybody?
Yes.
Now? You say we're rolling, and all of a sudden this different
Everything
voice
changes.
comes out. Everything changes.
So, and it is a skill to just be you. I'm like, what you need to do is just carry a microphone around with you all the time. And whenever you're having conversations, just hold the mic like that. Yeah. So you get used to having a mic in front of your
you
face.
You can do it on the iPhone, press memo, and record.
Well, I always, when I'm recording at home, I always record when I'm just reading it off my phone or my monitor. I always record me just reading it, because a lot of times that's the one I send, because it's just like me going with my natural instinct, and then if I need to tweak it. But I just do it because, and a lot of times that's the one I love the most.
And that's the one that books.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't put too much thought into it.
And that's one of the things Stacey can attest to. I don't let you analyze too much.
No.
Yeah, which is great.
Because
this is a reenactment, ready? Okay, Chuck, go ahead in the booth. Okay, and we're rolling, and you're like, beep, beep, and you're like, tonight.
Our guest tonight will be next on CBS.
It's true.
Hope you can read fast and read well. Yeah.
So just don't think about it, man.
Don't
just go.
think about it. And the more you listen to promos, and the more you listen, like with any acting skill, the more you listen and just listen and take it in, the more it will inform your own performance.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to feed your instincts.
You have to. And first you have to get good instincts, though. And how do you get good instincts? Call Jodi.
Yeah.
She'll help you out. Okay, so how do you approach teaching promos, and can anybody learn how to do promos? It's not a trick question.
Wow. I'm going to say no, not anybody can do promos.
I agree with you.
That's honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I've had wonderful commercial clients who've come to me for commercial privates, and they do beautifully. Can't do a promo.
Right.
And vice versa.
And vice versa, yeah.
You know, that happens too, more likely the other way. No, not everybody can do promos. My approach is, I want to hear a cold read. I want to know what I need to do to feed your instincts, as we were talking about before. Where do you need practice?
Right.
However, I have to say that generally people come to me, if they know about promos, they sort of know how to read them.
Yeah, exactly. Because they've listened.
Because they've listened.
They get the gist.
I have recommended to a couple of people that they stick with commercials.
Good. You have.
I have.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you hear that you say this is not working?
If you can't connect with the material, if you get a piece of copy and you read it, you may, back to the backup singers, you may be hitting all the right notes, and you may sound like a regular person, you may sound like you, but you're not truly connecting to the material. You don't believe it, so I don't believe it.
I was just going to say that. The whole believability factor. The confidence.
The confidence.
When you're telling that story that you know that you know that you know.
That you know and you like.
Yes.
And that's where the trigger comes in. Is I find
That's probably another trick of hers, a little trigger.
Little trick.
Another trick. Super secret.
What I do, I mean, I've been doing this for so long that I have my own bag of tricks.
Sure.
And I personalize it to each person in the booth, because what works for one doesn't work for another.
Exactly.
That's why I have to have a big bag of tricks.
Yeah.
But I also like to find out a little bit about my clients. And I can tell when I first meet them what that connection is. And it may be an immediate like with Stacey. She walked in and it's like, oh, she's my friend.
Yeah.
And
that's cute.
Well, that's who she is.
I know. Well, that's what I said the first time I met her too. I'm like, that's my girl.
Absolutely.
You don't know that yet, but
it goes both ways. Yes.
And people have walked in where I have to be aware of my reaction to them and use that to get them to connect to the material.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying that I have to be very much in touch with the difference between my personal feelings about the person and what tools I can use to bring out their best work.
Yeah, that's really good, Jodi. I like that a lot.
I mean, you have to do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of that. You need to have that in order to be effective.
You have to be effective.
Because if you can't do that, then you're just some guy trying to pull something out of somebody the same way you do everybody, and everybody's a little bit different. It requires a different way.
Everybody's different. And if I can just find that hot button thing,
then bam, you get it's like, there you go, baby. Now we're performing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's powerful though.
It is powerful, but I find, as you must in directing demos, it's a physical thing that happens to us.
Yes.
That we are on. It's our performance as well as directors and coaches. That the physical reaction to somebody I have to be in touch with that. So I have to connect to that in order for them to connect to the material. Does that make any sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little bit,
Yes.
it's actually not even, I was going to say deep, but it's not deep. It's really, really
not.
correct.
It's not
I mean,
deep.
gosh, too bad the teachers can't do that in schools. You know what I mean?
Right?
They just go, well, here's what it is, and everybody has to learn the same exact way.
Yeah.
But if they had that personal attention, we're like, oh, you require this, you require that, but everybody would graduate in a year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, obviously in privates, I get an hour to tune into somebody. It takes 10 minutes for them to relax. I bet it's the same for you. It takes 10 minutes for them to relax. By 20 minutes in,
They're hot.
they're hot.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
by that time, I have found those hot buttons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But when you're doing sessions, I mean, promo moves so fast. You have to do it. And obviously you work with some of the same talent over and over again, but you don't
So
have
much
the
easier.
luxury. You don't have the luxury of spending, the session might be 15 minutes. I mean, you don't have time.
I don't have time.
So that's where your ear and that skill and just the experience, I'm sure, really comes into play.
Well, that's what happens. I've got 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Let's make it 20.
Yeah.
We've got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We've got 5 spots to do.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm hiring the top tier people who I know are going to give me what I need to.
Yeah.
It's not a place for sissies.
No sissies allowed.
And you can't take
You
things
heard it
personally.
right here
Not.
on VO Buzz Weekly.
You can't
take it personally.
Yeah.
If you didn't get a job that you auditioned for, you may have done a perfectly wonderful audition, but the reality is the devil I know or the devil I don't. It's like, okay, I've got 15 minutes to do 5 readings. Do I go with the person I know can give it to me? Or
do I take a chance
or do I
when
take
you're
a chance?
on the wire?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it depends on the project. Some projects have a longer lead time. That's where you get more opportunity for
Sure.
newcomers
Yeah.
or people who are not so much on your radar.
Absolutely.
But
and then once in a while, you meet somebody.
Once
we
in a
won't-
while.
We won't mention any names.
Yes, we will.
You meet somebody that comes along and you go like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Where did these guys come
Who
from?
are those guys, Mike Brang and Bo Stevenson?
Right?
Oh, my God.
And they're
Are
watching right
those-
now, by the way. They're right there in that
Yes,
little hole.
there was.
Hi, Bo, Mike. Are those guys incredible?
Insane.
Amazing.
They
Absolutely.
Very
just
special.
knocked me out.
Yeah, they knock a lot of people out, and they knocked me out when I met them and watching them perform. And they're so easy and so eager to learn. I love that. I love
Yeah.
when somebody's having a tremendous amount of success, but they're like eager to learn.
And get better.
And get better.
continue to
And you
improve.
know why they're successful? It's because they continue to do the work.
Yes.
They are still taking workshops and taking private.
Yes.
Me. And they continue to do the work. So many people book a job here and a job there, and they expect to start booking everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way. It takes years of study and practice, and I'm going to give you my best piece of advice right now.
Take out your pen.
Yeah.
Take out your pen. Take the workshops. Take the privates. You're going to have to invest money into this. And don't do your demo too early.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That is the best advice I've heard
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
long time.
I have known a lot of people have come to me with demos that needed to be corrected. So it ends up costing them twice as much.
Exactly.
And that really bothers me,
Me too.
right?
That should
lot.
not be
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for part 1 with Jodi Gottlieb, but we'll be back next week with part 2.
Yes, we will. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VO Buzz Weekly. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. And just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.